Bill Conley listed, 6 SEC title contenders, therefore, top 6 for the college football playoff. Tennessee was number 6 in that regard. But when he did Tennessee's preview, he ended with this sentence, and I thought it was pretty noteworthy. I think Grant wrote a story about it. Year 5 of the Josh Heupel era could be the team's best defense, but the worst offense under Josh Heupel. I think there's some truth to that. You hope it's not the worst offense, but certainly I think this could be the best defense. But, what do you think about that statement, Brent, that this could be the worst offense, but the best defense of the Josh Heupel era?
Well, I tell you what, if this is the best defense, then that's pretty impressive, because I thought last year's defense was really good. When you look at what they did, the number of games where they didn't give up a touchdown in the first half. I mean, what did that go into? November, late October before that happened? They were terrific a year ago. And because of that, offensively, they didn't have to be very good, and they weren't. I think it's easy to say that. It's easy to say about that about the offense, because 4 or 5 starters on the offensive line, quarterback, 60% of your receivers have never suited up and played in a college game. All of those things, when you look at it, you say there's so many question marks on offense. They don't have to answer one thing. They have to answer something at every position, with the exception of probably tight end and maybe running back. But I think behind Deshaun Bishop, you're still answering questions, and you're replacing the SEC Offensive Player of the Year. Just so many questions that it's easy to say. I don't think that's a hot take, guys, when you look at saying this could be, if it doesn't develop, this could be Josh Heupel's worst offense. It could be much better than everybody thinks, depending on how guys develop and how much better they get from tomorrow, Wednesday, until the end of the season. And I think that's the storyline overarching about this team, is how much better do they get offensively, Austin? I think they're going to be good on defense. I think Tim Banks has got his identity. I think they know who they are. I think they've played enough players, that they're returning enough veterans. But how much better are they offensively late August, September, 1st of November? How much does this group improve?
Yeah, and there's just so many unknowns, it's hard to know. I think this could be a defining moment for Josh Heupel. It could be his finest hour, because left for dead in the spring with a quarterback situation in flux, with a wide receiver room with no proven commodities. If he goes out and develops and produces, and Tennessee wins football games with good offense, I don't mean being carried by the defense, then I think it only validates Josh Heupel going forward. And I think that he likes the role of being kind of the underdog. I think he likes to be doubted. And I think, again, this could be his finest hour. But a lot of that will depend on one position, and I've said it, and I'll continue to say it. It's the receivers. It's not the quarterback position. I think you'll get quarterback play from whoever's there. It can't – I mean, it's not like Nico set the world on fire last year with 2,600 yards and 19 touchdowns, and 11 or 12 of those were against, 3 of us. That's just facts. I mean, I think Nico's –
you know what?
I think Nico's poised to have a really good year this year. I really do. But we'll never know. And because he decided to go home to have a support system, it wasn't about the money. And it'll be interesting to kind of see where things go for this offense. But I do think that Josh Heupel's motivated, and I think this is a real opportunity for him to kind of showcase himself with a really good year, which means that he'll have the offense, doing all they can.
AP, I completely agree with you on that. I mean, especially with Heupel being a competitor, and also, I mean, nobody thought Tennessee got good quarterback play last year. They still averaged 35 points a game, and were second in the SEC. And I get, some of that was against trash, but still 30 plus points a game, easy. And I mean, you don't know how it's going to go, but man, they've got some talent at wide receiver. I mean, Staley and Matthews didn't. Injuries, kind of got them out of the gate last year, but those were 2 guys everybody in the SEC wanted, 2 years ago. I mean, they haven't done it. They've got to produce, but they've got talent. I mean, Brazzell is a guy that did it in the SEC. So I mean, there are question marks, but it's not like you just look around that room and say, man, we got a bunch of guys that just can't play dead.
Eric, Josh Heupel keeps receipts. We're very aware of the fact that he keeps receipts on things that are said. It's not that he's heard that everybody's figured out his offense, and it's gotten progressively, the numbers they've gotten progressively down since 2022. You know where he's at. Nothing would make him happier. Nothing would satisfy him more than to put up numbers in his offense with a group of guys that most people weren't projecting to be the guys, this time a year ago. Nothing would make Josh Heupel happier. Nothing would please him. Not that he wanted guys to leave, but nothing would make him happier than to basically assemble an offense in a large part January through the spring transfer portal and put an offense out there. Nothing would satisfy him from an ego standpoint, if you will, than that.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, he is a quarterback. He loves competition. He feeds off that. I mean, you can see it on the sidelines. You can see it in the press conferences sometimes when he comes in after like a scrimmage or something. He feeds off that. And, it was different circumstances, but Cedric Tillman was nobody in 2021. Velus Jones, he was a name, but he was nobody at the wide receiver position in 2021. Let's not forget, Jabari Small rushed for 14 touchdowns in 2022. There's been guys that have been very, very successful in this offense, and so I think that's going to fuel him for sure. Can you limit the turnovers at the quarterback position? I think that's a big-time question. If it is Joey Aguilar, based on what he's done, obviously if it's Jake Merklinger, he's never kind of been in that position before, so I'm intrigued. It's going to be a lot of questions that aren't going to be finding answers week 1 or week 2. Hopefully you'll find some by week 3 in Georgia. But going back to what Brent said earlier, how much? And I say this about David Sanders as well. Take David Sanders in the Tennessee offense against Syracuse on August the 30th. Then look at him midway through October. How much better are you? You hope that you're taking strides every single week. You hope David Sanders is a much better football player the third Saturday in October than he is against Syracuse to kick off the season. So that's something to pay attention to all season long.